Hi, welcome to the video training of React.js. In this video training, we will be learning about React.js components. Components are like functions that return HTML elements. Components are independent and reusable bits of code. They serve the same purpose as JavaScript functions, but work in isolation and return HTML via a render function. Components come in two types, class components and function components. In this tutorial, we will concentrate on class components. When creating a React component, the component's name must start with an uppercase letter. The component has to include the extends React.Component statement. This statement creates an inheritance to React.Component and gives your component access to React.Component's functions. The component also requires a render method. This method returns HTML. Let us create a class component called car. I'm going to use the same application that we have created in this playlist videos trainings of React.js. That is my first React. So I'm going to edit index.js, the main React.js file, and also the view file that is in the public folder, index.html file. Let's get started. I can comment this code from the previous video training and we can write our code here. So class car extends React.Component, and this class have a function called render, and its return HTML, that is h2 hi I am a car, and close the h2 tag. That's it for the class car. Now your React application has a component called car which returns a h2 element. To use this component in your application, use similar syntax as normal HTML, that is car tag. Display the car component in the root element. So you can do it as React DOM.render car tag and give the target HTML element document.getElement by ID and root. So we have that function here. We do use this here, React DOM.render, and here we can use the car tag. Document.getElement by ID root. Let's check that we have that element in our HTML. Yes, it's there, by ID root. Now let's run the application to see the results. Projects React.js, my first React app, and npm start. You see we have this as an output within the root dynamically, and it says hi, I'm a car. So we used a class component within the HTML file using the React DOM.render function. Here is the same example as above, but created using a function component instead. A function component also returns HTML and behaves pretty much the same way as a class component. But class components have some additions and will be preferred in this tutorial. Let's create a function component called car. I'm going to comment this here, and I'm going to create a function component, and I'm going to use the same return statement that I used above, and that's it. Save it. Once again, your React application has a car component. Refer to the car component as normal HTML, except in React, components must start with an uppercase letter. Display the car component in the root element as we did before for the class component, and if I refresh the page, I have the same result as before, but this time using the function component. If there is a constructor function in your component, this function will be called when the component gets initiated. The constructor function is where you initiate the component's properties. In React, component properties should be kept in an object called state. You will learn more about state later in this series of video trainings. The constructor function is also where you honor the inheritance of the parent component by including the super statement, which executes the parent component's constructor function, and your component has access to all the functions of the parent component, that is React.Component. Let's create a constructor function in the car component and add a colored property. Okay, we just need to modify our existing class component. Okay, and we need to add a constructor, and the first thing we are going to use is the super statement. This will call the constructor of the parent class, and I'm going to assign the class variable state color equals red. Okay, and that's it. But as you can see, we haven't used this state variable anywhere. So now we are going to use the color property in the render function. So within the render function, I can use the state here, return h2 I am a, and here we can say this dot state dot color car h2. Save the file and go to the browser, refresh the browser. Okay, it hasn't changed the element here. So any error here? Okay, turn h2 car. Yeah. Okay, another way of handling component properties is by using props. Props are like function arguments, and you send them into the component as attributes. Use an attribute to pass a color to the car component and use it in the render function. Okay. So we can modify our car component, remove the constructor here, and here I can say this dot props dot color. Okay, and within the car tag in the render function, I can say color equals red. Save the file. Okay, refresh the browser. Okay, so effect there. Okay, now let's look at the topic components in components. We can refer to components inside other components. Use the car component inside the garage component. So let's create a garage component which extends the React component as well. So we already have a car component here, and you can say we can remove this for now, car, and class car extend React component, render I am a car. Okay, then we can define another class component called garage, and it also extends React dot component class, and it also has the render function. and we can return div h1 who lives in my garage. Okay, close the h1 tag, embed the car component here and close the div here and here, and include the garage component in the render function. Okay, save the file. Let's run it in the browser. Okay, you can see we have integrated our car component within the garage component, so we can use components within other components. I hope that you have understood this concept. It is a very useful concept and it will help you in your future applications. Okay, now look at components in files. React is all about reusing code, and it can be smart to insert some of your components in separate files. To do that, create a new file with the .js file extension and put the code inside it. Note that the file must start with importing React as before, and it has to end with the statement export default car. So this is the new file. We named it app.js, and this is the code within this file. Okay, let's create a new file here. Okay, and we need this here, import React from React and React DOM. So we need these two, and we need our class component here as well. Copy this and paste it here, and at the end we need export keyword default car. Okay, I'm going to save this file as app.car.js. Okay, I have saved this file. Now go back to our original file here, and let's see how to use this. To be able to use the car component, you have to import the file in your application. Now we import the app.js file in the application, and we can use the car component as if it was created here. So within this file, I can say import car from /app.car.js. Okay, and down there we can comment this code. We don't need this because we have imported the car component from another file, so that should do it. You see, we have imported the component from another JavaScript file into our main index.js file. That was all about this video training. I hope that you have understood the concept of React components and how to reuse them, and how to use components within components, and how to isolate them within different JavaScript files and importing them wherever needed. I hope you have learned this concept clearly. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time with a new topic in React.js.